On tonight's show, we explore the possible causes and treatment of functional dyspepsia.
And find out what types of food you should avoid to prevent worsening your indigestion woes.
All that and more on
Everybody Knows.
When you are literally biting off more than you can chew, sooner or later your body will send off signals to you urging you to stop in the name of moderation or sanity.
Or perhaps it's not just the sheer amount of food, but what you eat that's causing your stomach to experience functional dyspepsia, or what's commonly known as indigestion.
Right? Welcome to Everybody Knows. I'm Mike Kasem, and indigestion is so commonplace and non-threatening that sometimes we simply don't pay much attention to it.
Guilty as charged. I'm Catherine Robert, and to tell us more about the causes and prevention of functional dyspepsia is Dr. Benjamin Yip. Come on out, Doc.
Hey, doctor.
Welcome to the show.
Alrighty. Great to have you here, yeah.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, Catherine.
Grab a seat. Okay, so what do you got?
I do want to ask, when they said functional dyspepsia, is it basically indigestion or is it two completely different things?
So indigestion is a general term where one feels sick in the stomach. So you can feel upper abdominal pain, bloating, usually both. You can have nausea, vomiting, or you simply cannot finish your usual portion of food. And functional dyspepsia is one of the many causes of indigestion.
What is functional dyspepsia?
Yeah, so by the term functional, doctors usually mean that when you go through tests like blood tests, scans, or you do a scope, it's all normal, but you still have indigestion.
Okay.
And we call it functional dyspepsia.
And what are the common causes, symptoms of this?
The causes are not very well known, but there are some postulates. So, for example, after an infection, like stomach flu or a virus, it can trigger FD, or functional dyspepsia for short. If you have an infection called Helicobacter pylori, it's a bacteria that lives in your stomach, you can have FD. Or your stomach can simply be hypersensitive to whatever mood swings, stress, emotions, food, drinks.
Okay, there's another thing that I did come across, which I was kind of went, huh? Gut-brain interaction. What's that all about?
That's a very good question. So the brain, as you know, is a nerve center, right? So it sends out signals via nerves to all the organs in the body. And the gut is known as the second brain because it has the second most number of nerve endings after the brain. So your brain and your gut, they talk a lot. So if they talk too much and your stomach is always telling the brain that, look, I'm not feeling good, then you don't feel good.
Is that why they always say trust your gut?
Yes,
Right?
yes, trust your gut. Yeah.
So is there a certain age group that this afflicts more, or?
No, not really. We see patients with FD all ages, both sexes. But certain people who are more stressed or in stressful jobs, for maybe accountants when they're doing their deals, when they're closing the deals, lawyers before they close the case, something like that.
I know when I went through a stressful period in my life, I definitely experienced all these symptoms, yeah.
It's very common.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's time for us to bring our guest out. He, by the way, is an accidental chef. Do you know what that means?
No.
He accidentally became a chef, whose passion for food and culinary finesse transcends boundaries and imagination. Now, if you want to know what an accidental chef is, let's welcome him, Chef Melvyn Lee. Come on out.
All right. Melvyn.
Hey guys.
An accidental chef.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Pleasure's mine.
Hey, Melvyn.
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Accidental chef just means that you fell into this world of culinary.
Yeah, I kind of was a very naughty boy. So I spent most of the time in the kitchen with grandma more than the playground.
Okay.
Yeah, so my love for food started very young. And then I just thought playing with food wouldn't become a profession.
Okay.
Who knew, right?
Yeah, and there you go. So in the culinary world, you're probably trying all sorts of different kinds of foods.
Yes.
So do you ever experience indigestion, functional dyspepsia, and things like this?
I think with our profession, we don't eat too much, but we taste a lot.
Yeah.
And we have very irregular meals. So most of the time, I don't know, we kind of get confused with gastric pain and indigestion because for me, I know that indigestion, if you eat too much, you will suffer from it too. And if you eat things that are hard to digest, too late at night, your body kind of slow down.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right, Doc. Then,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Then you kind of wake up in the next day and feel very lethargic because nothing is digested and it's so heavy.
Can I just say that it's a very special episode today because we usually have two guests. Do you know why you're the only one here?
Okay, the other guest is staying and she sends her love lah. But today is because she's having some stomach issues.
She should have come today.
Come to see me.
Come
Yeah.
today.
Would you think he goes around with all the medicine?
Yes,
is it?
I'm ready for you.
Come out to my car. So what kind of remedies could she take for her stomach issues? Like, let's say it's indigestion.
Yeah, so the symptoms are mild. You can walk into any pharmacy. You can get antacids. They come in pill forms or even liquid forms. So if you go to a doctor, they can give you prescription medicines like proton pump inhibitors. So common examples: omeprazole, Nexium.
Okay.
So, Doc, I got a question. For me, I really don't like seeing the doctor. So I kind of like self-remedy most of the time. But when do I really need to seek advice and consultation?
That's a good question. So if your symptoms are prolonged, it goes on for more than 3, 5, 7 days. If it's severe, you got severe pain, you can't get out of bed. Or you have what we call alarm symptoms, right? Like you're losing weight or you're chucking up blood, either from the top or the bottom. Or you cannot swallow, you feel really unwell, please see a doctor.
So this can turn into, what kind of complications can arise from leaving it untreated?
Yeah, see, functional dyspepsia is only one cause of indigestion, but there are other causes, right? So there's inflammation in the stomach and proximal small intestine, ulcers in those same areas, or tumors, right, for older folk. So if your symptoms are prolonged, it can affect quality of life. You may not be able to get out of bed, you can't go to school, you can't go to work, you can't tend to the family, so on and so forth.
Right. It's painful. It's painful.
So Chef Melvyn and I, we were talking off camera about how you spent a bit of time recently in the Amazon, you know, hanging out with the tribes and learning how they live, what they eat and all that kind of stuff. Do you ever find yourself in a position where, you know, you've eaten something that didn't sit very well and then...
Yeah, many times. My worst one was having mussels in Manila. And it's one of those algae kind of waves that comes occasionally and it wipes out all the mussels. You can't eat any one of them. They're all poisonous already. And
so you ate one of them?
yeah, I had one of them. And then I start puking, I start going to the toilet, and that was a very big scare for me because I've never experienced that in my life. Then, after that, the whole digestive system is so weird and I cannot digest anything. You know, whatever I eat, whether it's clean or not, whether it's easy to digest or it's just like glutinous rice, which is hard to digest, I would just feel so sick.
One of the postulate causes of FD is post-infectious, right? So your stomach just gets sensitive, and then sometimes you don't like the food you throw in, especially foods that are hard to digest, like glutinous rice.
Yeah.
So it's very classic.
When you go through an episode like that of indigestion, is there a given time for your stomach to sort of find center ground again, so to speak?
It depends on individuals. Some can take a few days, some can take a few weeks. So it can be quite debilitating.
Is there anything we can eat to help program it back?
Probiotics is something you can try. And if you're feeling really lousy, something easy on the stomach to digest. So nothing spicy, nothing sour, you know, caffeine, take sparingly, no alcohol, and, you know, not too heavy, not too oily.
To be honest, that's what caused my bout last week. Was I could tell, like, you know, just
Caffeine or alcohol?
alcohol.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and-
All right.
After caffeine.
I think it was. I think I had like a mix. So it was a mix of everything, and so I was like, I knew what it was, and I'm like, and it was painful.
Oh.
So yeah, try to stay away from it.
All right.
Yeah.
When we come back later, find out how a young investment analyst copes with functional dyspepsia. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Everybody Knows, and you know that your body is acting up when you constantly experience constipation.
Wow.
And the next moment, the stool suddenly becomes loose and it goes everywhere after you passed out next to the toilet.
Okay, calm down. And here's how the story of a 23-year-old investment analyst, Nakul Mahan, discovers that he's having functional dyspepsia and seeking due treatment.
I was facing digestive discomfort and unpleasant bowel movements. 23-year-old Nakul Mahan is an investment analyst who enjoys swimming, running, and working out in the gym. He started experiencing bloating and constipation when he switched to a different brand of protein powder.
I experienced these symptoms of bloating for like 2 to 3 weeks. It was quite discomforting. I didn't feel very fresh. So I've been trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle and trying to take in a lot of salad as my diet. Apart from that, I would take in some hawker center food like wonton noodles, Hokkien meat. I'm quite active with sports, and of course, nowadays in order to fulfill our protein demands, we have resorted to supplements, mostly protein supplements, and I was used to a certain brand. Then I thought of switching into a new one, but as it's something heavy and our body is not very adapt to something new, when I started facing these particular symptoms, I suspected that my routine of changing my protein to a different brand could be one of the plausible reasons.
To avoid discomfort and inconvenience to his work and activity routines, Nakul made some adjustments to his regular eating habits and patterns.
So when I started feeling such symptoms of discomfort, then I was very strict on myself to discipline myself to avoid unnecessary carbs and sugary products. Because I know carbs and sugary products, when not required, could lead to bloating as well, because the carbs and fats break down in our body, and not required, they just accumulate as additional fats. I did notice when I stopped taking any sugary products, any sugary liquids, there was a sudden change in the bloating patterns. Although I didn't get completely rid of it, but yeah, my body felt much more active. And of course, some people say that salad is very healthy, but I did notice that if you keep consuming salad, even salad can cause you bloating. So it's more essential to find a right fit and right balance of fibrous food along with protein and some healthy fats as well.
Finally, Nakul decided to see a doctor when he observed that his stools were thinner than usual for 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I was quite alarmed when I didn't get a very proper bowel movement. I have felt these kind of discomfort once in a month or something like that, but nothing for this prolonged period. So I decided to go to the doctor, get thoroughly checked. Dr. Ben was also quite thorough. He did advise me on taking colonoscopy as well. And fortunately, there was no underlying disease, and I discovered it was all about change in diet. My advice for people who are facing functional dyspepsia is like, you need to understand your body. Every body is very unique in their own sense. Don't outright go and just change your diet completely because you heard that something else is better and what you have been consuming for so long is not good.
Wow.
Everybody knows is what he was saying.
Every body is different, especially. That's what he
Everybody
was
knows
saying.
their own body, right? You
So-
gotta know your own body.
That brings about my next question, right? Given that functional dyspepsia is a multifactorial condition with a combination of physiological, psychological, and environmental factors, how did you help Nakul identify and address his condition?
For Nakul, we thought we needed quite some tests because he had symptoms for some time. And so we did blood tests. And then for the functional dyspepsia, because he had it also for some time, and we made sure there's no other causes of indigestion. Like I said, there are other causes. So we did a scope from the top to look at his stomach. And because his stools were, were changing, becoming thinner, harder to pass, we did a colon scope as well. And then we give him medications to treat both the stomach and the intestine.
Was this possibly caused by those protein powders he was taking?
It's possible. So whatever you put in your body, in your gut, so you don't know how they're going to react. And we don't know exactly what the components are. So I don't know whether protein powder, they may contain lactose.
So we don't know, did he change?
No, I think he changed to one, and then he had the symptoms. And then he stopped.
Oh, I see.
Then he stopped, then he came to see me.
That I can relate because I take tons of protein shake. Because for our profession, we don't have time to eat proper food. So supplementation is very important. And there are certain brands that bloat me up.
See, that can be good as well. Like if you have no time to eat and relying on supplementation, it's not. Is that a cause?
would you
Relying too
recommend
much on it?
It's difficult to have a balanced nutrition because, I mean, unless you're a trained dietitian, you know exactly what supplements to use.
Yes.
Then you may be malnourished in a certain way.
Yeah, like missing out on iron
Yes,
or...
yeah, So
Okay.
Look at the panic in his eyes.
It's either that or like microwave food, which I don't touch. So yeah, I guess I have to do my homework.
Okay, so you said, stress causes, disruptions to our digestive system. Besides finding ways on, how to distress, what else should we look out for?
yeah, so I assume that you've seen someone and made sure there's nothing else sinister going on. So if it's a regular trigger of stress, then besides managing the stress, your doctor should be giving you medicines to help you treat your symptoms. We talked about the gut-brain interaction. Sometimes we give medications to reduce this crosstalk. So these are in the form of antidepressants. Not that the patient is depressed, but it also reduces the signals between the gut and the brain, and then makes symptoms like pain, bloating, even diarrhea, constipation better.
Right, Dr. Ben, Nakul mentioned that his stool turned loose. So what does the color and the shape of the stool say about the abdominal health?
Yeah, so first of all, the color, it can tell you a lot about one's health, especially the gut. If your stools are a tarry black, or if you have blood in your stools, it means you have bleeding in your intestines or stomach, or both. And if your stools turn pale or even white, it means that you have a liver problem.
Ooh.
Yeah. So for the shape, so if your stools are hard, they're pebbly, then you're very constipated. Yeah, then if your stools are totally watery, there's no form, no shape, then your diarrhea is quite bad.
Doctor, I sometimes can literally go, by the time I'm done with my 10 a.m. shift, I go from 6 to 10 a.m. Sometimes 4 times.
I am so envious of you.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I can go
I
a week
love it.
without
I can
once.
eat something and go right away.
What?
And
What you're describing is the gastrocolic reflex. So you put food in the stomach, gastro, and then it signals your colon to release the poop. It's not the food you just ate, but it's a previous stool.
Yeah.
The frequency is quite a lot, yeah. But if it's your habit, you had it for years, then it's no big deal.
How if it's on the other end of what Mike is having? It's like for me, sometimes I can like a week. I go,
yeah, I had a friend
once.
who was the same.
It's
I
the
feel
same-
like women are like that as well.
You're right. So women tend to get more constipated.
Yeah.
So again, the usual will be, once in 3 days. But I have patients, I have it once a week, once in 10 days for...
Yeah.
So that's okay.
That's okay for them.
That doesn't
Wait,
it doesn't poison
did you just say
It
once
doesn't-
in 10 days?
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, sometimes I go longer than that. If I'm filming overseas, I would choose to hold it. I feel it, but I hold it, and then kind of I forget about it,
And then it goes away.
and it goes away.
Right.
Is that
Till I
could
hit
that become
a nice hotel to kind of like, wow, my century. Then I just...
Well, everybody's gut processes the food or nutrients in different speeds.
I'm curious, why was Nakul prescribed vitamin D? What did that do for his condition?
So like I said, I did a series of blood tests for him. So usually with people with abdominal pain, I do calcium levels as well. So vitamin D is part of calcium metabolism. So it was low and I just supplemented it. It's not for his gut, but for his bone, joints, and muscle health, and for his immunity as well. So it's just good overall health management.
How long does treatment typically take to basically resolve the symptoms or help with the symptoms, especially in women?
Well, it depends on the individual. It usually can take from days to even weeks.
Okay.
And then we usually review the patient a month or 6 weeks after we start the medications, and we decide whether it works or not, whether we need to change, add on.
So functional dyspepsia, it seems so common, and it usually doesn't cause unbearable pain or harm. So what would be your advice to people who are experiencing FD but don't intend to do anything about it?
So that usually means his or her symptoms are mild. You kind of cross out what foods trigger your symptoms. You manage your stress, exercise more, you sleep well. And then you might go to a pharmacy once in a while and pick up the over-the-counter medicines, which I've alluded to just now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to hit for a short break. When we come back, we'll find out more about functional dyspepsia. Don't go anywhere.
Well, now that we have learned more about functional dyspepsia, let's play a little game where we unravel the myths behind this common yet seemingly inscrutable condition.
That's right. Dr. Ben will be reading out a few statements, and we'll have to guess whether this statement is fact or myth.
Okay, so question 1. Functional dyspepsia is caused by an ulcer in the stomach or duodenum.
I have no idea who duodenum is, but I think it's a myth.
Me
I'm
too.
gonna go with myth, yeah.
Correct, it's a myth. So as I said, functional dyspepsia, usually the tests are all normal, blood tests, scans, a scope, so you don't find ulcers.
Okay.
Yeah, so duodenum is just the first part of the small intestine right after the stomach.
Statement number 2.
Okay, number 2, stress and anxiety can worsen the symptoms of functional dyspepsia.
That one fact.
Touch on that.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so highly stressed people with psychological or psychiatric disorders can have more FD.
Okay. Statement number 3.
Number 3, functional dyspepsia is a rare condition. 2 out of 3 of you have it, right? So it must be common. It's very common.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my patients have FD.
Statement number 4.
4, people with FD should avoid all fatty food.
I'm gonna go myth.
I'll say fact.
You know,
Like
when you look at MCQs, if it says all, it's usually wrong, right? So you don't have to avoid all.
See?
I mean, you can have some, but tailor according to your own gut. So listen to your gut. So if you can't have too much, don't have too much, just cut it down.
Alrighty,
Okay.
statement number 5.
Number 5, so FD can be treated with medication alone.
Myth.
Yeah, I'm gonna go myth.
Yeah, it's a myth. So usually the patients start with lifestyle dietary changes first, for the mild cases. And then you go to over-the-counter medications and then prescription-only medications.
While the exact cause of functional dyspepsia may vary from one individual to another, knowing what to eat or what not to eat can help you manage your indigestion issues better.
Right on the table here are a variety of fruits, drinks, tidbits, local delights. So we're gonna take a pick here and see if you can tell us if this is good or bad.
Okay, let's start with the drinks, yeah?
I think strawberry yogurt, isn't that good for digestion? Isn't that like a probiotic?
Yeah.
So yogurt contains some probiotics and it's not acidic. So it's good for your
It's
gut.
good. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
The apple juice.
I think it's good.
I think it's good.
Apples can be a bit acidic. Sometimes you get a bit of sourish apples. So, I mean, some people can't take it.
Great.
Yeah, same. I would say
Good.
acidic.
No, I would say good.
I would say good too. This is like the good side.
I think grapes also tend to be a bit more sour. Maybe not so good for your stomach.
Potato chips. These are the spicy ones.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
So I think we all pretty much know what that
Yep.
means.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have the nasi lemak.
So nasi
There's
lemak
no
is
way that's good for you because there's so much oil, coconut oil.
And there's no sambal.
correct. The sambal has been scraped off.
Here's the problem though, guys. It's fried.
It's oily, hard to digest, so maybe not so good for your stomach.
Yeah.
Okay, carrot cake.
This is definitely gonna be bad.
Fried. Yeah, I think it's bad.
It looks so good though.
Yeah, it looks good though, especially the
heavy.
black version. Right?
Kiwi, I would say, is safe. What do you say?
Kiwi, I
Kiwi
say
can
no.
be sour, right? Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
quite acidic.
Yeah, kiwi is quite acidic. But again, if you can stomach it, pun intended, go for it, go
right,
for it.
right.
Yeah, I think Dr. Ben is a bit biased to Mike.
I think so.
I think my answers is like, no worries.
Friends with Mike. Okay, the peanuts.
I would say that they're not gonna help
Ruin
you,
you?
but they're not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, peanuts probably okay, but if you take too much nuts, it's quite gassy. Yeah, so beans and nuts quite gassy. So bloating can, worsen your symptoms.
All right, so there's no hard and fast rules, but when you listen and know what food is beneficial or bad for your body, you are one step closer to maintaining and achieving overall good health.
So remember to join us next week on Everybody Knows. And in the meantime, thank you so much, Dr. Ben. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And
Thanks,
Melvin.
Chef Melvin,
Yeah,
for
man.
coming
Thanks
on.
for having me.
All right,
Had a
bye
great time.
guys. Have a great one.
Bon appetit.